Hi, Terry here from DotPointz. Let's talk about that performance management review discussion that you have with your manager and some ways that you can use that particular meeting to your advantage. The key thing about these meetings is that you need to do some preparation for them. Don't just let your manager drive it. To do that preparation, what I suggest you do is think about, first of all, and make some notes for yourself about what do you most enjoy about the role. It's a really great way to actually take control of that discussion and start it on a positive note. So you might go into that discussion and talk about the aspects of your role that you're really grateful for and enjoy. Also think about your achievements of the most recent period. Now, sometimes it's hard retrospectively, even for a 3-month period, if you've got a really busy role, to think, I wonder what I did in the last 3 months. So it's a good idea to keep little notes for yourself that I got that report on time. It was high quality. I was able to manage that mini project to completion. I was able to organize that event and it went off without a hitch. Whatever the thing is, just make little notes for yourself in preparation for your next performance review discussion with your manager. The next thing I want you to do is write down what you identify are your strengths and the things that you bring to the role that you're doing that are actually benefiting your boss directly, your colleagues around you, and the company overall. That's really a great way to start this meeting and to bring those notes to the table so you can be more proactive in how that discussion goes. The next part of the discussion that you want to contribute to, and it's always good to have some notes with you, is to have a think about what you would like to improve in your role. What extra skills do you think you need? And that allows you in that discussion with your manager to ask for extra support and training, whether that's just in-house or support from colleagues or training from your manager. So come to the table prepared to acknowledge that you're not top-notch perfect at everything. Nobody is. And that way you're showing that you're very self-aware, that you want to grow and do better in your role. You might also want to think about how other collaborations within your company might actually strengthen your position in your role. There might be someone in another team or another part of the company that you might benefit from having them as your mentor. They're not directly related to your role. They have a different view of the company and its place in the market, for example. So you can come to your performance review meeting to your manager and say, I'd really like to have a mentor from the finance team, and describe how that might benefit you and what you'd like to learn. And it shows that you're interested in the company, that you really want to develop yourself, and having a mentor or collaborations outside of your immediate work colleagues is a really positive and strong thing to have. So just assess what you're doing and where it might benefit you to have new connections within your own company. Also have a think about whether or not you want new challenges. You might have been in your role, for example, for quite some time, and you've done a 12-month cycle or 2 12-month cycles in your role, which means you know where the peaks and troughs are and what you're doing and what reports are due and when. If you feel like you know your own role inside out and you can take on extra challenges, then ask for them. If you've already got some idea of what you'd like to do, ask for it, or just raise it with your manager and let him or her decide, oh, okay, you have been doing your job really well. How about if I asked you to do something else? If you're looking for new challenges, ask for them. Simple. Another important thing to do before you go into that meeting with your manager is to assess your own workload honestly. If you find that you're really stretched and you're working hours well beyond what you're being paid for, then this is the time for you to discuss that with your manager. If, however, you're feeling like, well, I can take on more workload, look around the office and see what other colleagues in the room might be overworked, for example, or you might notice they're working long hours. You might have skills that you can help. Have those discussions with your manager and say, look, I have capacity, or look, I'm really stretched. I think I need some support here. This is your opportunity in these performance meetings to discuss your workload. I suggested that you start this meeting on a positive note about what you really enjoy about the role. You may also, in a performance review discussion with your manager, be faced with some positive and not so positive comments about your performance. Your manager has a right to review and may provide you with some constructive criticism. May I suggest that you don't be defensive about that criticism. How you take that criticism is an opportunity for you to actually either impress your manager or cause them some concern. So what I'm suggesting is just be gracious about it. And if the criticism you might personally feel is unwarranted or you don't quite understand it, just be honest and say, look, thank you for the feedback. I need to think about that and digest it and just assess my own performance, but I'm really thankful that you're interested in helping me to improve. What that does is it buys you time and allows you to go away and think about that criticism when you're not quite so defensive or emotional about it, and go, oh well, if my manager thinks that might be the case, then maybe I can improve. So what you're doing is that graciousness ends your performance review on a really great note. Be well in the workplace today.